Yo, welcome to Spectator Sporting. I'm Zach Roach along with my partner, Mr. Adi Wallet. We got another big time boxing show for y'all today. You know we got Byron here. You know we got Tszyu here. Make sure y'all go on Spectator Sporting, the YouTube page. Subscribe to that page. Also subscribe to the Spotify page as well too. In a massive upset, Tszyu got knocked out by Bakhram Murtazaliev in the third round, forcing Tim's corner to throw the towel in. Bakhram goes to 23-0. Tszyu goes to 24-2. Tszyu now with 2 consecutive losses. Bakhram keeps his Super Welterweight belt. Tszyu, talk to me about this fight.
I'm a little bit concerned. If you know that you're a fan of the show, you know that Tszyu is one of my favorite fighters out there. Still the same. Nothing's changed. But 2 consecutive losses. It's not the losses themselves, because this is a combat sport. This is what happens when top tier competition faces each other. This is what you get. I think that there might be some mental issues going on of the way he lost these fights. The first fight we know against Fandor, controversial fight, the cut on the head, and he tried to overcome that. Fandor actually showed a few things in that fight. It wasn't like he just won. To me, he didn't win just because of the cut. He capitalized on the cut, but he showed a good stiff jab, patience, a lot of good things there. But you come back in this fight and you fighting IBF title holder.
Yeah,
IBF title holder. And let me just say something. All right. I think that the top guys not fighting each other, us being up in arms about that, and I think the 3rd rank, the 4th rank, the 5th rank, the 6th rank guy in these divisions, I think these guys are seizing the reins and taking the opportunity to show the boxing world that the division ain't just about 1 or 2 guys.
Yeah.
And that's what I think Bakhram did in this fight. The left hand was devastating, sharp. He got caught with it almost every time. And I don't think it's for a lack of skill or preparation or anything that we would normally say with a fight that we saw go this way. I just think there might be some things going on. I know Byron's gonna probably detail a little bit more, but I think there's some things going on with my man Tszyu. I still think he's a soul taker. I don't know what his next move is, but that just didn't look good.
Yeah. Bakhram really showed himself in there. It seemed like he was very prepared for this fight, Byron. Like he knew he had a plan of attack and he knew how he was going to go at Tszyu.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on this fight, Byron?
I was heartbroken. This is I was heartbroken for a couple reasons.
Our guy.
One reason is, as a boxing fan, not a stan, you have to appreciate a fighter the likes of Tszyu. Tszyu is not a guy that's going to take the easy road.
Never.
He's going to take the harder side of the mountain. It kind of defines who he is. And in this fight, I still believe everything that I put at the beginning in the lead up to it. I think Tszyu is the better fighter. But when you fight fighters who are tough, who are champions, who, you know, Murtazaliev has his own origin story, look past being the #1 contender, kind of like a boogeyman, because as we alluded to, 154 is deep. It's deep.
Whoa.
And it's not 4 names on this list, 5 names on this list. You can get beat from 1 to 10, and you can get beat. You know, and there are fighters that avoid, you know, fighting within that realm, and then there are fighters like Tszyu who will fight contender after contender after contender until he gets to where he is. And I think in this fight, you know, a lot will be said about what happened in the first round. He actually did take some type of blow to the top of the head. He kind of stopped the fight, kind of checked himself for blood. You know, that could have been a mental thing. I thought he kind of repped up his attack after that happened. But at the end of the day, you know, watching this fight 4 times before this show is aired, like, he got caught with a great shot. You know, Marquez, Pacquiao, like, he got caught with a great shot. The only thing was it didn't put him down. But I think 80% of this division gets hit with that shot, they don't get up. Tszyu is very tough. I think this fight should have been stopped in the 2nd round.
I agree.
But the ref and, you know, some other I guess parts of it tried to get him to the next round, but he never recovered from the perfect left.
Nope.
In the second round, he was actually, kind of beefing up his attack. He came in with a crisp 1-2. He doubled up on it, which I really didn't understand why. Yeah. So again, I think it's also preparation. I think he did kind of underestimate this opponent. I think he did plan on, kind of having some rounds in the beginning to box him, but maybe he felt his power in the first round. Maybe it was the shot to the top of his head that kind of got him or led him to amp up his attack, which created more avenues for Murtazaliev to get off shots, and his shots were very straight. They were very crisp, and he did what he was supposed to do. He really was in a win-win situation. And he landed a great shot, knocked out a big guy, and I love his call outs. At the end of the fight, Spence, Fundora, or Crawford, and I really think Crawford will get a shot. But it's a sad day. Because, you want fighters to have the mentality of Tszyu.
Yeah.
You want your favorite fighters to fight the best fighters.
Warrior.
But this is a part of the game. If you fight top-tier competition, you can lose. And that's just that's the name of the game. It's a gladiator sport. And I know as much as we want to be down that Tszyu lost, Murtazaliev did something great, and I think he should be celebrated. I think 23-0 with 17 or 18 KOs now. I think this guy is somebody you should be looking at as a threat. I would love to see him against Crawford next.
Yes, sir.
And but that's the fallout, man. This is the hard knocks of the game of boxing. But I think Tszyu will be back. I think we'll see probably the longest layoff of his career, and I think we'll see him back in this division.
Definitely. Bakhram, man, vicious knockouts, knocked him out, man. Finished him off in the third round. Adi, I don't think none of us saw that coming. If we, unless you was just betting a betting man and you saw the training camps, but nobody saw that coming. What's your thoughts on this fight?
Yeah, betting man, Tszyu was a negative 700 favorite in this fight. Huge favorite.
Yeah.
And so in that fatal second round, Tszyu delivered a nice crowd-pleasing 1-2 combination, okay? And he got the crowd excited, but Bakhram shook it off, and Tszyu, he attempted a left hook to the body, but a quick counter left hook by Bakhram dropped him in that second round. And Tszyu, he would rise up, but he got blasted by several.
He was out of it low key.
I don't think he ever got his legs under him.
He never fully recovered.
Yeah, he never recovered.
He never recovered.
And that's what he said at the post fight. He said he never really recovered. He got dropped a total of 3 times in that second round, and he tried to end the third round. He came back out, and he was much more offense, no defense. Once again, he's not no defensive skills being displayed against Bakhram, and he's coming at him. And he did catch Murtazaliev on the ropes, and he attempted a 1-2 combination, but it was just like damn near an instant replay of the first knockdown.
Yeah.
Tszyu attempted another left hook to the body, and his
sharp left.
Come right back.
left hook, counter punch, dropped him. Tszyu
was tough.
He did get up off the canvas for the 4th time, but by that time the fight was over. He took some more punishment. Then his corner finally threw in the towel, and it's pretty much he's got in the ring, and it was out real quick. And so now before the fight, Tszyu said he wants to make the biggest fights happen. He talked about Bud Crawford. He talked about Errol Spence Jr., Virgil Ortiz, Jermell Charlo. He was overlooking Bakhram Murtazaliev. We can overlook him, but he can't.
He can't.
See, and that's if that was the case, that's when he had it coming there, because when you got everything, you just came off a loss. Controversial, whatever. But now you know what's in the balance. You got Bud Crawford waiting to see what's gonna happen. You got all this stuff going on. There's no way you should overlook anybody. You need to be at your best. You got to make sure you're at that best. And so Tszyu if that's the case. If he really was unprepared or overlooking, then he had it coming.
But I would say this: when they were trying to interview, when they was interviewing B-Ball before he fought Better BF, they was keep trying to ask him about Canelo and the Mexican Monster. He was like, you know what? Only thing I'm thinking about is October the 12th when I go against Better BF. I'm not trying to think about that. The only thinking about that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so that's what Tszyu kept talking about, Bud and Spence and all these other people.
But let it be said, a perfect left hook a counter shot. I don't give a damn. You could be focused. I think it was a great shot.
Yeah. See, I'm leaning towards more. I don't want to give him an excuse.
I totally understand. I think as far as skill wise, Tszyu is highly better skilled
Yes, sir.
than Murtazaliev.
Yes,
but
sir.
I think we'll see that when he does get a Crawford fight, and he does. He can't sneak up on Crawford, especially after this. You're on his radar.
Yeah, exactly.
But it was a great shot. I like watching this fight, and I don't think in the first round, like, he was controlled. I don't think he was like overwhelmed with power.
No.
He was landing shots to the body. It was just he got clipped with a great shot, and he just got up.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And I think if that shot would have clipped him and he wouldn't have got up, it'd have been like, I think we wouldn't be talking about Tszyu and his preparation. I don't think the preparation was the problem.
Okay.
I think he just got hit with a great shot.
Well, he when he hit him with that 1-2 in the second round, and Murtazaliev countered he came back with a straight right.
Yeah, he hit him with it twice too. He threw that combination twice.
Right.
Which I didn't.
And he wasn't
Weird.
playing any defense. He wasn't trying to put his guard up. He wasn't doing any head movement. And it just seems like he didn't respect Murtazaliev's power.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what
like I say, I'm just asking, but I don't, if that's the excuse, he shouldn't. But I'm going to go ahead and give Bakhram his credit.
Yeah, I think
you know what I'm saying?
this isn't just a Tszyu fan, butthurt over what happened in the fight. I think he should be celebrated. I thought his punches were absolutely crisp. I thought he was reserved.
Crisp as hell.
He didn't go crazy when he got him hurt.
Yeah.
He kind of
Yeah.
held back. He made sure to have meaningful shots when he hurt him. Like, I think he should be celebrated for taking out a big name at the 154-pound division and being now a champion that commands a fight against the top three.
Yeah.
So and again, losses don't kill you. 2 losses in a row. I think Tszyu should definitely put himself on the shelf. But we will not. This is not the last that we'll see.
Not at all.
No, not the last we'll see him.
Hopefully it's not, because like you're saying, Tszyu is a fighter, and just like I gave Earl Spence credit, I'm gonna give Tszyu his credit for fighting competition and fighting somebody that you could potentially lose to. So I give him.
He's a title holder, top tier competition.
Yeah.
He was ducked by who again?
Charlo
Charlo ducked everybody.
So Bakhram 20 goes to 23-0. I mean, TKO in the third round, knocked him down 4 times. I mean, that's amazing fight. So Byron, we kind of went into it, but let's go into it now. Bakhram, after this big time victory over Tszyu, huge upset. What is next? What I know Bud Crawford is on the horizon. That's what it seems like.
That's the only fight I want to see. I want to see him against Bud Crawford. Crawford is having a problem with finding an opponent at 154. I think it's more on the promotional side, not because he's ducking any smoke. But if I would believe the rumors that were swirling before this fight, Bud Crawford was kind of in pre-negotiations with Tszyu to fight him.
That's been going on for like over a year.
If allegedly, if that is allegedly true, then I would love to see Bud Crawford against this opponent. It's a big guy. I think he has a 1/2 inch reach. I may be wrong, so don't kill me in the comment section. But I think it's a great fight.
Y'all savage.
I think it's a great fight to set him up for when Fundora beats Spence, and he has to fight Fundora.
Early prediction.
Wow, you just threw that.
Y'all heard that?
Real slick.
Y'all heard that? Y'all heard it.
But Murtazaliev, and I might be saying that wrong, but Bakhram, I want to see you against Bud next. And if not Bud, I'm trying to think who else. Maybe Virgil Ortiz. Maybe knock him around. But I really do believe I don't think it'll be a problem for Crawford to make this fight. And I think Turkey is already, 80% done with this deal. So I think that'll be next, but if not, I'll take a Virgil Ortiz versus Bakhram.
Yeah. Adi, we saw Bakhram. He put on it. Let's give him credit. He put it on a show. He showed himself. He didn't just win. He went bonkers. He third round knockout.
He showed the skill.
Made him throw the towel in. So now his name is now he really put himself out there as like a guy to be dealt with.
Yes.
What's next for Bakhram?
Well, maybe this is why Jermell Charlo ducked his mandatory challenger.
Oh boy,
He didn't want them issues. Yeah, he didn't want that.
boy.
Yeah, and he maybe this is why. Allegedly. Because that's the reason why Bakhram had the IBF title in the first place, because Charlo was supposed to defend it against Bakhram Murtazaliev, and so
I don't want that.
open the door for Murtazaliev to get the IBF. Okay,
Yeah,
and so Bakhram, he wants a unification bout with Terence Crawford. He said that in the post-fight interview. Now, but if Canelo Alvarez shocks us and gives Bud Crawford his wish and go ahead and make that fight happen in 2025 for that mega fight, then
You never know.
Bakhram won't be able to fight Bud Crawford. But that's if we get shocked and Canelo goes ahead and fight Terence Crawford.
There's always tomato cans. You just have to look hard.
But you know what? So if he can't get that fight with Bud Crawford, you got to, my man Bakhram is going to have to look at Sebastian Fundora versus his supposed to be opponent, Errol Spence Jr. Because I got to see it to believe it. Okay, because Errol Spence Jr. he keeps saying he's gonna fight and he keep pushing things back. So I'm not. They supposed to fight in January,
Right.
So
allegedly.
So the thing is,
Keyword, allegedly.
And Bakhram wants a unification fight. He wants to fight somebody.
Ancient Byron, bro.
You know, that would be a good fight because whoever wins that fight would have 2 belts. They have WBC and WBO. So and now another option for Bakhram. Now he may be forced to fight. He might be able to fight the top IBF contender. His name is Erickson Lubin. He's a southpaw from Orlando. He's a top IBF contender. So he may have to fight him. The IBF is always quick to throw.
They push the mandatory.
They push it right after the fight.
He's right here.
Fight him now.
He's in the ring.
So, but what makes Bakhram so dangerous is that he's taller than most of his opponents, and he can beat you in the phone booth. So he can beat you with 2 different styles. So I'm interested to see who he's gonna fight next.
Interesting.
Yeah, Bakhram really. If you didn't know who Bakhram was last night, you figured it out. You know what I'm saying? You figured it out, and now the world is open to him. Now it's like big fights is open to him. True. We've been talking about Bud Crawford. Bud Crawford, I feel like if that's the fight, he's gonna make it happen. But what else you see? What do you see for Bakhram, Tion?
Well, outside of what was said, Bud Crawford, I agree with the Fundora fight as well. I also agree with the Ortiz. I feel like these 3 targets are the most likely targets for him because let's not forget, it's business. It's business. Fights have to be sold. Seats have to be. Butts have got to be in seats. You know what I'm saying?
He got to fight a name.
It has to be a name, and I think with this performance. With this type of performance over this name that he beat, I think the names are popping out the woodwork.
It's open.
All the guys now are going to be like, and I honestly, in my heart, I believe. I don't know if this is actually true. In my heart, I believe he should have the pick of the litter. He should. It's not just the fight that it's not just the fact that you're a title holder. It's who you beat and how you beat him. That has to hold some type of weight. You know what I'm saying? Especially with a Terence Crawford, and I agree. That should be the next fight. I feel like that's an interesting fight for Terence Crawford. I feel like he offers enough resistance for Terence Crawford for us to be like, okay, this is.
He can lose this fight. It's possible. He might lose.
This is something.
But Canelo stands will call him a tomato can.
Oh no way!
This man, you beat
knocking out Tszyu,
Soul Snatcher, Tszyu.
Right.
Like, come on, bro.
And it would give Crawford just 2 more fights to reach his goal of unification. Because if he defeats Bakhram and then defeats the winner of Sebastian Fundora and Errol Spence, then he have all 4 belts, and then he can right out to the sunset and retire.
But speaking of Fundora, I think he would crush Fundora. That's just my first initial thought.
After he crushes Spence.
I'm gonna keep it.
Allegedly.
Agent Byron. Y'all see him out here. Y'all see him out here.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's just gonna be interesting. And once again, I just want to throw this out there again. It's not about 2 or 3 guys in every division no more.
Yeah.
These fighters are showing us that. They're getting the opportunity to have their name, their face plastered on the biggest card they might ever have in this one fight. And look what they're doing.
And Murtazaliev, in Ring Magazine rankings, he was ranked at number 9 before this fight.
Number 9.
Okay, so
Look at
the
this.
top 10 is...
It's pretty close.
It's competition
it's close.
all the way through. So get used to it.
10.
This might be the new wave in boxing.
So maybe when guys is fighting tomato cans, maybe we don't know they tomato cans. Maybe they turn out not to be a tomato can. You just never know.
At 154,
Y'all don't know the underlying conversation that's happening right now.
154 was agreed with everyone at this table.
Yeah.
154, deepest,
You wild.
best division in boxing. So if you're the deepest division in boxing, your 1 through 10 get it cracking.
And Charlo hasn't...
135, 1 through 10 ain't hitting like 154.
Yeah.
And what Tank Davis is doing, he's reaching below.
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
But that's another show.
But if
I'm sorry.
back to 154. Back to 154. Okay.
I love it.
Jermell Charlo is still the WBA champion.
And we forgot about Charlo.
Yeah.
We forgot about Charlo. So that's another name in this hat at 154.
So, but man, shout out to Bakhram. Now, we got to talk about the Soul Taker, and we'll talk about that when we get back.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
We were just off air talking how Tszyu always been a tough dude.
Crazy.
Fights all the toughest fights, doesn't run for nobody, doesn't duck nobody.
Never.
But
Never.
this loss could be one of those losses where with the matter he lost. And then not only that, 2 consecutive losses.
Yeah.
So Tion, what's next for Tszyu?
I think the table's still open for him. I honestly believe. I think his talent lends to the fact that the table is still open. We can't, as boxing fans, again, this is a conversation off air, we can bring it to the table. We cannot knock these fighters for fighting top tier competition. We can't. I know we don't live in the 90s, in the early 2000s of boxing to where all the top guys fought each other and the loss wasn't looked at. The loss was looked at like, man, look who he lost to.
Yeah.
That's how we described an L on the record.
Yeah.
Because it was so common a theme for the top guys to fight the top guys. You couldn't get your name mentioned unless you fought the other dude in your division.
Facts.
You just couldn't.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be relevant unless you was willing to go try to take his belt.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I just want to say that for the Tszyu fans, and I'm one of them, for the boxing fans, I'm definitely one of them, we have to get back to a place to where we believe that losing to top tier competition does nothing to your image. Answering the question, Terence Crawford. That was the first thing I thought. Tszyu and Terence Crawford. If Murtazaliev does not fight Terence Crawford, I think Terence Crawford will still fight Tszyu. I think that's still a big enough name. I still think the butts will be in the seat still, and I think that's a competitive fight.
Okay.
I think that's a competitive fight. Outside of Crawford, Jermell.
Ooh, okay. Yeah.
When I kind of saw, Murtazaliev, if I pronounce your name wrong, I'm sorry.
Murtazaliev.
Murtazaliev.
It's not me today.
We got syllables and all types of shit. It's everybody. When I saw the style of fighting, it kind of reminded me. And I was just like, ooh. The movement, he, the conviction with punches, like being sure of what you wanted to do and how you wanted to do it. I think that would be an interesting fight. And if not, rematch with Fundora.
Okay.
Get that rematch.
Okay.
Get that rematch. I want to say, and I have Ortiz on the slate on my list as well, because I think that'd be an interesting fight. But I think his top 3 options, Crawford should be number 1 still. If that's off the table, man, Fundora would be
Revenge.
And that'll kind of tip the scales a little bit.
Yeah.
It'll explain the first loss. You know what I'm saying? And I think that'll be a good redemption arc. And from there, I still think the cards will still be in his hands to fight whoever is willing to fight him, because it ain't too many people.
Yeah. No, Tim Tszyu. I guess you do have to ask after how his mental is after coming up 2 consecutive losses.
You do.
And the first loss, was controversial. We get it.
Yes.
But this loss to Bakhram was...
It was bad.
It was a bad loss. Like no way to slice it, no matter what happened. You get finished in the 3rd round, and you supposed to be Tim Tszyu. You know that looks bad. So mentally, I don't know how he's going to come back from that. So, Adi, what do you think is next for Tim Tszyu?
Well, this is the year of the upsets.
Oh, yeah.
Anthony Joshua lost his opportunity for a major battle versus the winner of Alexander Usyk versus Tyson Fury. Tim Tszyu lost his opportunity for a battle with Terence Crawford, and I'm going to have to disagree with Tion. I don't think he's going to be able to fight Bud Crawford. I think he lost it, and then you can see the look on his face.
He knew it.
After the fight, it showed that he lost it. Unless Crawford want to keep fighting till he's 39, 40.
So do you think it's an unwillingness on him to fight Crawford, or Crawford?
No, he would. No, Tim Tszyu would fight Crawford. It's just that Crawford has a goal to unify the belts, and Tim Tszyu don't have a belt anymore.
You're right.
And so he's Crawford's
kind of took his name out the
you're right.
Crawford's going after guys with belts.
I didn't think about that.
And so it's crazy how Anthony Joshua and Tim Tszyu both lost those fights early. They got put out the fights early to IBF guys that wasn't respected, and so
it's crazy.
But Dubois was a lot more respected.
Oh yeah, he definitely was.
He was, but Anthony Joshua did say he overlooked him, and he still was a major favorite in that fight.
This overlooking, we gotta stop, guys.
Yeah, they gotta stop.
Like serious. What sport do you think you in?
Yeah, you never underestimate your opponent.
Don't want to do it. But Tim Tszyu is still in his prime. He turns 30 years old in a couple of weeks. So he has a lot of time left. And I think Tim Tszyu should fight the man that he was supposed to fight in August, Virgil Ortiz. Virgil Ortiz Jr. is undefeated with a 95% knockout rate.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And he holds the WBO interim title. All right, so that'd be nice for Tim Tszyu to try to get him. Yeah. He has the interim title. But in Ortiz Jr., in his last fight, he was actually knocked down twice against Serhii Berberchuk. All right, El Flaco. He got knocked down twice in that fight. All right, but he barely squeaked by majority decision victory. And he looks. Both fighters look a little bit vulnerable. Tim Tszyu versus Ortiz Jr. Like, all right, which one of these guys is gonna
knock you out?
Which one of these guys is gonna go ahead and bounce back with a convincing victory? I would love to see Ortiz Jr. versus Tim Tszyu fight for that belt.
Could I ask you something though? Do you think? Because I think both these two fighters are dealing with a similar situation to where there might be a lull in competition.
Oh, you think they might take a little break from fighting?
I'm not saying it's not intentional.
Yeah.
But let's say you're trying to get these big fights, and I would say more for Ortiz than Tim Tszyu. And you have to fight this guy. You have to fight this guy. You have to fight this middle of the pack guy.
Yeah.
How do you test yourself? You know what I'm saying? How do you test yourself without another piece of iron in the ring?
Well, I guess sometimes when you fight the top guy, you might have to go fight a middle pack guy to get back to doing what you do best.
No doubt.
You know what I'm
but
saying?
they've been in situations to where cats haven't been wanting to fight them.
Yeah. Well, Ortiz Jr. took a lot of flack for fighting a lot of cupcakes, and then he fought Berberchuk and got knocked down twice. Now Tim Tszyu on the flip side, he takes on the best. Tony Harrison. He's trying to go after Charlo. He's going after the best.
Yeah.
Now Ortiz Jr. Maybe these guys want a bounce back fight. Maybe they want, maybe a tomato can fight.
Get
both of them.
Get your mind right. Sometimes you got to get your mind right. Sometimes
that's true.
So if he doesn't fight Ortiz Jr., if you look at this Tyson Fury versus Usyk undercard, the rematch undercard, you have who you mentioned, Israel Madrigal is fighting Berberchuk.
Oh boy,
really? That's going to be a big fight. Bergachuk is number 2 WBC.
Yeah.
Madrimov is number 3 WBC, number 3 WBA.
Yeah.
Fight right there. That's gonna be a really good fight on the undercard of the Fury Usyk fight. And I would like to see the winner of that fight is going to have see Tim Tszyu fight the winner of that fight.
Yeah.
That'll be nice. Okay, so he's like I said, but Tim Tszyu. He must increase his jab output. Over 40% of his punches are power punches.
Yep.
His hand movement ain't there.
Overhead right
his footwork needs to improve. Defensive skills need to improve because he goes in there all offense. He's trying to throw these power punches.
So I'm listening to all three. Y'all kind of all saying the same thing about Tim Tszyu.
I didn't say anything yet.
No, well, I'm just saying as far as Tim Tszyu, like, you know, him coming into the fight. Is there a training issue going on with him, maybe?
I thought about that. You might need to switch trainers.
Wow. Well, his calling card has always been his offensive output. So you exactly right when you touch on that. Like, do you think he's so used to being able to be so dominant that there's a lack of defense because of that?
Well, I'm gonna tell you this. This man get off to slow starts. Okay, Terrell Gaucher.
Yeah.
He countered Tim Tszyu with a straight right hand in the first round and knocked Tim Tszyu down. Okay, a couple years ago, and against Brian Mendoza, I gave Mendoza 4 out of the first 6 rounds of that fight. He started off slow, and against Tony Harrison, it was kind of close in the first 6 rounds.
Slow too.
Yeah, he started slow.
But Crawford's defensive discipline is way better.
Starts slow,
way better.
Ends very strong.
He does.
Oh yeah, he does.
Output goes up.
His output goes up, but that was the only reason why I asked the question because, like you said, perfect contrast. Terence Crawford's defensive responsibility is totally different. Like, he is so much more responsible defensively than the Tim Tszyu. So I'm thinking like maybe he's so used to bullying guys. Do I got a block?
Right. Okay. Okay. That makes sense. Well, Byron, you know, you're a Tim Tszyu fan, and we've been talking about Tim Tszyu. Tim Tsz유's a warrior, so this is nothing. This is not. This don't make Tim Tszyu look bad. In my opinion, I think Bakhram fought a great fight. But what you think is next for Tim Tszyu?
I'm just in typical fashion. I disagree with both of these guys.
Nice. There we go. There we go.
We out here.
We're out here. They're talking about.
We're
out here. Talking.
They just.
Tim Tszyu needs to sit down, and the reason why he needs to sit down for a minute is because he's had 2 very bad losses, and the first. It wasn't so much physical, but it was mental. Yeah. I look at the second fight again. I probably watched the most out of everybody at this table, and I did see him get struck in the top of the head, pretty much in the same region where he got the bad cut on Fedora. He reacted to it, and then I actually saw him move a little bit different in the fight. A knockout loss is a knockout loss. I think he's going to have a medical suspension. Because again, I think that he kind of when he got knocked down in the second round, the fight should have been stopped, and everything after that, and there was a lot after that.
It was a pause period. It was
a lot of shots after that.
Yeah,
I think that he's going to be medically suspended for a couple months, and I think he might add on a couple months to that. Being that 154 is so deep, his name still rings.
Oh yeah.
As far as the division goes.
Oh yeah.
But I think sometimes a loss can be a blessing, and what I mean by that is sometimes your opponents that have overlooked you for how successful you were will see that you're vulnerable and actually would be willing to get in the ring with you. And I think the name that he wants the most out of anyone at 154 is Charlo. So I think if Tim Tszyu sits down,
that's a good point.
And Charlo makes his return to the 154-pound division and gets smacked down, which he probably will if he gets anybody in the top 4 not named Spence. I think that a fight with Tim Tszyu in the latter half of 2025 will be something that can happen. I don't think that Tim Tszyu is going to get right back in the fire after these 2 losses. And I think that Charlo is a big name, and also there's a history, and I think Tim Tszyu will step up to get in there and show that he's still the man at 154. And if you go in there and you beat Charlo up, your name is right back in there.
Oh, yeah.
But I really want to see him kind of take a mental break after these losses. Spend some time with his family. I saw that his dad, Tszyu, was actually at the fight. And I think it's time for him to just take a step back at 30. He's definitely not into his prime yet. And that's one of the things that I love about Tszyu is not really the veteran that he's going to be. He can get better defensively. He can get better offensively. Yeah. But the thing that he has that a lot of these fighters don't have is how he gets stronger as the fight goes on.
He does.
He can fight a fight in a phone booth. He can fight a tactical fight and beat a great boxer, which he has. So Tszyu has a very deep bag that a lot of people will overlook now that he's been knocked out. But a knockout does not sell your career. It does not speak on the fighter that you will be or what you will become. And I think Tszyu will be a champion at 154 again. And I'm not going to say it's going to be a fast track. He might have to fight a couple fighters outside that top 10.
Oh, yeah.
But I think that a fight with Charlo in 25 will happen. I think Charlo will make that fight, depending on who his next opponent will be after, he fights this cupcake that he got coming up.
We gotta stop. Hey, these cupcakes, man.
No, I mean, and this is another thing. Certain fighters, dear comment section. Yes. Certain fighters choose
love it.
or have chosen for them opponents that are harder than others.
Yeah.
And we have fighters who habitually seek out lesser competition. And Tszyu should never be on that list.
No, definitely.
And Tszyu will never be on that list.
No, I'm not saying
Bud Crawford never be on that list.
Definitely not.
There are a few fighters that can never make that list based on the status of their promotional company and just the fighter that they are.
Agree.
We can't put Tank Davis on that list. We can't put Canelo on that list. And that's the only thing I'm trying to say. Tszyu should take a break. He should take some time off, and then he should fight a fight. Like, if a Charlo fight presents itself, absolutely takes that fight. I don't want to see him in there with Madrimov because Madrimov is he's a problem in this division.
Dangerous.
And I don't understand why people throw him out there as a journeyman status. Madrimov can beat you up.
If you did not see how he fared against the great Terence Crawford,
and I think a lot of fans kind of, because you love Canelo and you hate Bud Crawford, that you kind of just feel that Madrimov is like this journeyman fighter.
Not at all.
No, Madrimov can beat a lot of people.
Top tier competition.
So I don't want to see him off of these two losses fighting that level of competition because Bakhram, for what we know, Bakhram, he could be that guy. That left was very impressive. And as Adi alluded to, he landed it multiple times.
Yeah, it was
between that second and that third round.
It was great.
It seemed like he got a timing on Tszyu, and it was like, if you come to my body, which he did get hurt to the body, and that's something that needs to be said. That I think Tszyu, his game plan was off. I think if he would have attacked that body and been more conscious of going to the body instead of trying to bring it up top, maybe he don't get clipped with that left, or maybe he still gets clipped with it.
Ain't nobody talked about that.
But the thing is, I think don't go and turn on the alarms for Tszyu because of these two losses. Of course, after a knockout, I think every fighter should take 6 months to reevaluate. As far as his camp, I don't know how tight he is with his camp, but if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I don't think Tszyu needs this radical Earl Spence chance. We didn't this change. We didn't see Tszyu get dominated for 10 rounds. No. We didn't see that. We saw a great shot that he never recovered from. Yeah. And so I think pump the brakes on all this sell on Tszyu. Tszyu is still relevant at 154.
Okay.
But you might not see him to the late quarter of 2020.
So let me just ask you real quick. What does he do against Charlo?
What does he do? Mm-hmm. I think he does what I thought he would do if he would have fought him 2 years ago. I think he has Charlo naturally wants to fight in the phone booth. And if you want to fight in the phone booth, Tszyu is somebody that you do not want to fight.
I was just about to say,
this guy's gonna catch you with an uppercut. He sets his body work. He goes to the body relentlessly, and with someone like Charlo who tends to gas out in the championship rounds, Tszyu is kryptonite because Tszyu is going to punch. His punch output is going to increase
higher and higher,
and it's basically he's not fighting for a decision in a fight. He's fighting to knock you out. And so I think Charlo is his fear. I'm not saying fear, but his unwillingness to fight Tszyu is something that is directed toward his career, and it's a smart move. You don't want to fight him. But I think if Charlo comes back to this division now,
you think he'll be more apt now?
And he sees that you're not the man at this division no more. You got Fundora, you got Spence, you got Crawford. Even though you could beat up Spence, but you said you'll never fight him, so we'll never know.
Yeah.
But the thing is, there are big names in this fight. I mean, I don't even think he won't smoke with Madrimov, to be honest. So we're going to see in the next few months where Charlo sits. And I think Charlo will absolutely take a fight with Tszyu in a later quarter of 25 if he sees that, hey, I'm long in the tooth. I'm getting ready to get out of here. Let me get a payday.
He weakened.
I think he coming off these 2 losses. His mental ain't there.
That's what I was ask. Yep.
You get in the ring with Tszyu. Maybe you stupid enough to go to Australia.
He gonna crush him.
You get a big payday, but you get your ass whooped. That's what's gonna happen.
But Charlo, Iron Man Charlo hasn't fought since September the 30th, 2023.
That's fine.
Yeah.
It's been a minute.
But he's coming back.
It's been that long?
He is coming back. He's slowly coming back, but I think at some point next year, he's gonna decide which direction he has to get a bet. Like if at 154, you can't call out Bud Crawford if you don't have a belt attached to it.
The belt is the caveat.
So that's the beauty of 154 is, unlike 135, where you just have a face of boxing status and use that to manipulate your way through. At 154, you gotta have gold. You gotta have a belt. For Fundora, Spence, they're going for belts. Bakhram has a belt.
Ortiz has
an interim status belt. So if you want to fight with these guys,
those are hitters.
These are all hitters, and they all have belts. So you can't be saying that, you know what I'm saying, I'm in a conversation for undisputed, because right now it seems like wherever Terence Crawford migrates to, undisputed status is either about to take effect. It's about to take effect.
You have to run through the gauntlet.
Or it's something that he's about to break up. And at 154 now, all you're talking about is unification. And so Charlo, unlike before, when he was able to hold on for dear life with that unification status, he now has to fight. He has to fight to get it.
You gotta build yourself
and
back up.
And the guys that have these belts don't want to fight you. They don't want to fight you, Charlo. They want to fight Bud Crawford.
Ooh.
So Charlo has to work his way into that top 5, and he's not going to work his way into that top 5 unless he takes out a Tszyu, unless he takes out a top 3 talent. And so Charlo versus Tszyu next year is much more feasible than both of these guys' selection. You know what I'm saying? I just want to say, don't agree. Tion or
he hates us.
Well, Tszyu, I think, I'm with Byron. I think he should take some time off, but he can bounce back. It's not the end of the world.
He got time off too.
But I want to give a shout out to Bakhram. He went in there and he did what he had to do and and really put himself out there. You've been watching Spectator Sporting. I'm Zach Roach, along with my partner, Mr. Adi Wally. We got Byron. We got Tion here. Make sure you go on Spectator Sporting. Subscribe to that page. Subscribe. Leave a comment. We do answer. Man, until then, in the meantime, in between time, we out.
Peace. Get in.